Chris, thank you so much for being here today.
Pleasure's all
The whole
mine.
point of these videos is that basically whoever watches them might learn a thing or two about a topic that you're passionate about. You and I met about 6 years ago when my family first moved to India, and I remember you playing badminton. And from that point, we played quite frequently. And from that point, it actually expanded to us playing cricket, football, and all this stuff. And then we'd always hang out at the compound. And since then, for the past 6 years, we've always been meeting each other. I know now you're quite a busy person, so our schedules don't always align, and I don't visit India always, but when we do, it's always great catching up.
Same here.
So maybe we can talk a little bit about your topic, which you'd like to dissect today. And I know it'll be helpful for other people that watch, and it is the idea of hospitality, studying hospitality in India. Maybe we can first get into what got you to pick hospitality.
So I'm being very honest. I don't know really what pushed me towards
Mm.
hospitality, but ever since I was a kid, I've been inclined towards hotels and the industry itself. I don't know. I just found them very interesting.
Mhm.
So even when I told my
But
parents
why?
that,
Is there a reason? Or?
I just found them very fascinating.
Okay.
I like the decor, everything, the posh areas.
Okay.
So I remember when I told my parents that I wanted to go into pursue the hospitality industry as a career. First thing they told me was that it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
Once you go through those doors, it's going to be a different lifestyle.
Mhm.
Luckily, I was ready for that because when I did join and when I went into this industry, I got to know what it really entails. But yeah, I've enjoyed it nonetheless.
I'd also like to ask you about the program. The program that you're doing for hospitality. Where is it? What are the requirements to get in? And what's the program structure like?
Okay, so the program I'm doing was actually started by the Oberoi Group of Hotels, a very
Yeah.
famous brand throughout India. And it's a little different from a traditional college approach where it's more of an on-the-job training process for 3 years. And in these 3 years, they train you in all the departments of the hotel. So you're well versed with everything and how the hotel runs.
Yep.
So I've been based at the Oberoi Uday Vilas, which is in Udaipur. Hotel was made
Which is in Rajasthan.
in Rajasthan, yes. The hotel was made very famous through Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, very famous Bollywood movie.
Yep.
And so I've been there for the last two and a half years now.
Yep.
And I think it's the way the program is structured, where you learn everything about the hotel in these 3 years that you're there, is something I've grown very fond of. And requirements are not much, very basic. So all you need is more than 70% in English in 10th grade in your exams, and same goes for 12th grade as well.
Okay, so maybe you can talk a little bit about what in particular you learn at the course. How do you get the theoretical training and the hands-on training?
So in this course, you have three different departments.
Yeah.
First is hotel operations, which covers food and beverage and front office. The second is kitchen operations, and the third is housekeeping.
Yeah.
So kitchen and housekeeping are two separate departments altogether. And I've gone for hotel operations, which covers food and beverage and front office.
Yeah.
So during my first year, I was only in food and beverage, where I learned everything from how you handle a restaurant to in-room dining, which is room service, or even the back areas as to dispensing food orders and whatnot. In my second year, I switched to front office then, and again I worked in every minor department over there. So you had the front desk, you had the concierge, you had reservations, you had cashiering. So that's why I spent 10 months during my second year, and then a brief 2 months in housekeeping, where I learned the basics over there of how you make rooms and everything.
Okay. And what would you say is the most challenging part of learning hospitality or doing a course of hospitality in India?
I think one thing that is challenging for everyone who joins this industry, at least it takes time for you to get used to. And this is not only in India; it's everywhere in the world. Is in this industry, you have to sacrifice a lot. You don't get to celebrate the festivals you want with your family. You don't get to be at home every time. But again, main reason of hospitality is you're there to serve the guests. And when you bring a smile on the guest's face, I think that is what is enough for you.
And are there any exams that you have to do?
No. So in this course, this is just a certificate course, and throughout this, the Oberoi Group also enrolls you in a bachelor's program with the Indira Gandhi Open University. So it's a distance learning course, and you have exams once a year. So the course is of a bachelor's in tourism studies, and you have 6 subjects in that. So you have hospitality included as well.
Yeah.
Apart from that, managing tourism and all.
And if you have someone who's looking to get into hospitality, what soft skills do you think that they can kind of work on in order to excel in this profession?
I think the first thing should be that you should be a people person.
Yep.
And have good interpersonal skills. That's something I personally didn't have. until I think I met you.
Oh wow, thanks, man.
Yeah, so
Emotional intelligence.
emotional
basically.
intelligence, yes. That's, I think, one of the main things. And everything else you learn through the years.
Yeah. Okay.
So requirements are very basic. I think it's about the passion that you have for the industry, which will help you go forward in it.
And you're finishing your course in May, right?
In May, in the next 4 months.
What's the plan after this?
So after that, I do plan to join the management training
Yeah.
program, which is the Oberoi Center of Learning and Development. So again, it's a 2-year program wherein you have both classroom sessions and they post you to different hotels within these 2 years. And you work in different stages. So the first stage, you work as an associate or a guest service assistant. Then you go back to study again. Then again, you're posted.
You're going back to study after that.
You'll go back to study again in
Okay.
the classroom sessions. Then in the second stage, you're posted as a supervisor.
Mhm.
And again, after 3 months, you go back for classroom sessions. And in your final stage, which is the executive stage, you are posted as an acting manager, where you learn, your managerial roles for 3 months, and then you head back to a final set of classroom sessions, and then finally, once you graduate, you're posted as a manager in one of the hotels.
What's the highest level you can get to in hospitality in India?
Oh, I think that's endless. I mean,
Mhm.
hospitality itself has a wide range of options. So right now, I'm pursuing a career in hotels specifically. So if you talk about hotels, after a managerial position, you go the position of a general manager
Yeah.
who looks after the entire unit level, and post that you have corporate roles also in a hotel brand as well.
Okay.
And if I'm talking about hospitality in general, you can branch out to a variety of places. You have airlines, you have real estate. So options are endless.
Okay. So can you talk a little bit about the silos? You're currently in hotel management, right? But what other silos are there? You're talking about airlines.
Airlines. So I think every place, including high-end societies that we have now, especially in India, all of these places look for hospitality professionals for the upkeep and handling the guest service areas in this.
Okay. And for someone who's basically got experience in India in hospitality, are there some overseas opportunities as well that they could
Yes,
maybe
I
make
think
use of?
considering the way hospitality takes place in India, people are always looking for people who work in the Indian hospitality to come abroad.
That kind of leads me to asking you about how your experience has been at the Oberois, and also if further down the line this would lead you to maybe finding work abroad.
So, I mean, since I started out my career at the age of 18 with the Oberoi Group, I am slightly more biased towards that.
Mhm.
But I think after working here for the last 3 years,
Mhm.
what I've learned is, I think why I like this group is because the hospitality that I've seen being provided towards the guests is something that can't be compared to any hotel outside of India. I think Indian hospitality is something that you won't find anywhere
So
else.
now that leads me to my final question. You're finishing in May. What are you hoping for in the next couple of years if things goes to plan? Like, what are you hoping to achieve in the next couple of years in this industry?
Well, in the next couple of years, I think the first goal that I'm hoping to achieve would be getting through the management training
Mhm.
program, which is OCLE, touch
Mhm.
wood. And after that, post the 2 years where I'll be posted as a manager,
Mhm.
work in one of the hotels, maybe
Mhm.
give myself 2-3 years, maybe a
Mhm.
little more in the company. And hopefully after that, step out of India, explore the hospitality industry abroad, see what it has to offer. Maybe down the line, after a few years, I might branch out as well. Like I said, hospitality
The
has a lot
different
to offer
silos.
in a different sector altogether. Hospitality as an industry has a lot to offer, more than hotels. So I think branching out would not be that hard.
Mhm.
Can be anything: airlines, real estate.
Is there one particular country that you see is most promising for hospitality, and is that a country you gravitate towards after India?
I think in the coming times, sorry. So I think in the coming times, Australia is a country where I see hospitality booming, whether it's for the people working there or people who'd like to,
Mhm.
uh, come from abroad.
Mhm.
That's a country where I think you'll have a lot of
Mhm.
success in this
Mhm.
field. So yeah, that's one place I think
And
which will do
also,
well in terms of
do you think
hospitality.
Saudi Arabia as well? Because now Saudi Arabia is opening to tourism. They have the World Cup coming.
Oh yes, I
But
think till 2034, in these next 9 years, Saudi, the hospitality industry is going to go, do really well. Apart from that, I think
Mhm.
most of the countries in UAE also. I think Dubai is one of the best destinations to go if you're going to start in the hospitality industry. and then grow from there in the
So
companies.
basically, tourism hotspots.
Tourism hotspots.
But it would be recommended if you're going abroad that you speak the local language as well as English, right?
Oh, definitely. I think English is a must anywhere,
Yeah.
and then the local language does help as a plus point.
Okay, cool. So there's quite a bit we've learned. We've learned about your inspiration for getting into hospitality in India, what it's like, and your future plans. There's normally a closing tradition on these chats, which is that for anyone who's watching, do you have any general piece of advice that you think they might benefit from?
So I think the first thing what you're supposed to do is manage your expectations. That's one advice that my parents gave me, and that worked really well. Because I remember when I went in, we were 6 to 8 people who joined in the first year.
Yeah.
And people expected different things to come out of the program. They didn't really know what they were in for throughout these 3 years. So I think I'm very lucky for my parents to have told me that not everything is how it seems. So I went in keeping my expectations
In check.
in check, yes, and that's the reason I managed through the first 6 months when I think half of my batch dropped out.
Why did they drop out?
So that they didn't really know what to expect. For them, it was going to be all sunshine and rainbows. They're going to be working in a fancy place. So that's what they expected. They didn't know the hard work that goes behind it. But I think if you're passionate about what you're going to be doing, then it's going to be a cakewalk for you.
That's beautiful.
Well, having heard that, I hope something good came out of. Yeah, let's cut this again.
That's a good point to end on, and some great advice. I think when we normally manage our expectations and we keep them in check, we are normally not disappointed, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, good point to end on, and thanks so much for being here, bro.
Thank you very much, Ajay.